Hey YouTube, Zubir29 here. I have a blast from the past deck profile of 2004 Zombies. Quick overview. That was the best pile, or layout, or whatever the hell you want to call it, I've ever seen. I'm just going to show you the deck. So yeah, I like this deck a lot. I've been playing this deck a lot with Mike's Nice 100, because he has a 04 deck too. And this deck seems to beat him most of the time. So, yeah. Let's get started. 2 rats, 3 turtles, 1 vampire lord, and 1 Koki. This is like the main engine of the deck. The rats can get the turtles, and the turtles get the lord and the Koki. So basically, you're just getting free 2000 beat sticks and 24 beat sticks on the field. And vampire lord, it can't be destroyed. If it is destroyed, you bring it back with its effects. And then Koki is an instant to BLS if you need it to be. And it's just a 24 beat stick, and you can just go like Book of Life. And there's lots of just cool plays you can do with the card. I probably, a lot of the stuff in this deck I don't have, which is why it's not in here. Some other cards I would probably put in here, like Reaper. I don't actually have any Reapers on me now. But if I did, I would probably play 1 or 2 in here for the turtles. But that's beside the point. This deck's really good, and it's really consistent, even without a lot of the staple cards. 1 Air Knight and 1 Zaborg. The reason I don't run 2 Zaborg, which was like extremely stapley back then, I like Air Knight better, just because of the draw power it gives you. And if you get its effect off once, it not only makes up for itself, but you're just going to be in a really good position from there. And 19 is actually a lot back then. You didn't have too many. Like, you had Gemini Elf, but it's like, the fact that this lets you draw 1, this deck has so much tribute fodder. It was so easy to bring out. 2 Apprentice Magician and 2 Magician of Faith. This is Spanish. Majo de la Fe. Some pro. This is a really stapley and just broken engine. Pretty much, Apprentice would just get Faith. Faith would get, like, Pot of Greed or Change of Heart, or Snack Steal, or maybe even Creature Swap, or whatever you needed to get back. You could use that card, Creature Swap something, and then sack for one of the 4 tributes you run. Vampire Lord, Koki, Zaborg, or Air Knight. And then, yeah, you pretty much had pretty good plays for days from there. And basically, it's more floaters in this deck, makes Creature Swap better. And of course, when you add back Pot of Greed with Magician, it's nice to use Pot of Greed more than once in a duel. Tsukiyomi. This card's good, not only because it lets you reuse Faith, but also if you summon it and flip down their Monarch, it's pretty nice. So, this card is very versatile. Breaker, pretty stapley, pops back rows. 19 beat sticks, self-explanatory. Warrior Lady, instant out to any monster. Exiled Force. The card was a staple back then because it could be an instant out to any monster. It was even limited. And then, of course, BLS because it was like the best boss monster in the game at this point. And this deck can easily drop it. For Darks, let's just see. So for Darks, you have Breaker, Tsukiyomi, Apprentice, Koki, and Lord. So that's 6 right there. And 2 of them, which are Apprentice, get into the grave really early game. Then for lights, you have GD Warrior Lady. You might get removed with a card instead of, or might get destroyed. Maybe they Solemn it. Maybe they Ring of Destruction it. So it could go to the grave. But even without that, you still run 2 Faith, Air Knight, and Zaborg. And you're only running 1 BLS, so it's not like it's going to be dead. It's like the logic people use today. They run triple Tour Guide and Sangan, and those are the only darks that they use. So it's still good. And yeah, that's the monster lineup. For spells, spells and traps are what make this deck what it is pretty much. 2 creature swaps. This is probably one of the best, if not the best spell in the entire deck. It was semi-limited. If it wasn't, I'd definitely run 3 in here. But you just give them the turtle, you give them the rat, you give them the vampire lord, you flip up your Faith and give it to them. There are so many good plays you can do with Creature Swap. In taking their stuff like their Blackluster Soldiers, their unused Breakers, even just taking a Monarch, it's just a 24 beat stick, and they might have troubles getting over it. So, it's a very good card. 2 Noblemen of Crossout. This card was extremely good back then because there were so many sets. Most of the people ran Dekoichi. I didn't feel it was necessary in here, mainly because there just wasn't room, and this deck was consistent enough without it. But running this card allows you to counter the meta. Of course, you have to be careful because you don't want to hit Faiths most of the time, unless you have one down or you've already used one. But most of the time, if they set a defense, you should knock it no matter what. Most of the time, just to be safe. A lot of times you'll hit stuff like Apprentices, Mystic Tomatoes, Spirit Reapers, etc., and then you feel really good just because you got rid of the threat. 1 book for Faith, just run monster removal too. This card isn't as good as I thought it would be in here, so that would probably be the first card I would cut if I wanted to. Book of Life and Premature is a revival. Book. The removal effect can actually be good because you remove a light or a dark for the BLS. And Premature, you guys know what that card does. It's banned for a reason, even though it's actually just banned for Hidden Armory, but still. Change and Snack Steal. These guys serve completely different purposes. Change is mainly for those, when they set a defense, you can change it, take their Faith, take their Dekoichi, flip it and draw 1, flip it, add back your broken spell cards. Snack Steal is when they have a big monster that you want to take, or if you just need to maybe sack for a Monarch, or you can just push for game. Snack Steal is like a Brain Control, but just a lot better in my opinion. Because Brain Control does the same thing. You take it, and you sync with it, or stuff like that. That's why I got banned. Greed and Painful Choice are the major play starters of the deck. If you open up either one of these, you will pretty much win the game. That's pretty much a theory that I've come up with. It's completely unlikely that you will lose if you greed. You will start with an initial +1. And it makes Faith extremely live, because if you Faith and get this card back, you're going to win without a doubt. And Painful Choice is a second greed, because you just Painful Choice and you pick greed. They're obviously not going to pick it, and if they do, then I guess that's nice for you. They add the greed to the hand for you. But you just set your Apprentice or your Faith, and then you add back the greed. And then the play starter card that you do add to your hand, it's good. You can pick Lights and Darks, set up the grave for your BLS, pick Zombies, set up the grave for your Book of Life, Prematures. There's so many good plays that you can do with these. And then 1 MST, because it was limited, 1 Heavy, and then 1 My Body as a shield. This card's really good because of Noblemen of Crossout. You can use this to prevent theirs. And then these guys are just staples. So yeah. Lastly, for the traps, 3 Solemns, because this card was good. Most people didn't use it, but it's broken, so I'm using it. 1 Bottomless, that's all I have room for in here. 1 Ring of Destruction, more destruction, and it can easily go for game. 1 Call of the Haunted, 1 Trap Dust Shoot, and 1 Magic Drain. These finish it off. Call brings up your broken stuff, sack for Monarchs, or bring up a floater. If they are battling you with empty field, they may not actually want to kill your stuff. Dust Shoot is because, as you notice, they don't have Forceful Sentry or Confiscation, but it's just an overall good card anyways. Hand advantage is pretty big in the game at this point. So, and then Magic Drain is because there's so many powerful spells, or not spells, I guess this would say magic, but there's so many powerful cards in the game that this can stop. And even if it does go through, you make them get rid of one of the other ones to use it, so it's not bad. So yeah, this deck's really fun to play with, and if you guys have all the stuff for it, build it. So yeah, on that note, I'm gonna go. So thanks for watching, and peace.